Welcome back to another PipeCast Burley Boy Summer Vacation. This is day 4 in our salute to Burley, I guess. Our vacation on Burley. Let's cut over and take a look at HH Burley Flake.
Alright, here is Mac Baren's HH Burley Flake. This is from tobaccoreviews.com. A burley-dominated flake containing tobaccos from 3 continents. Besides burley, this flake also contains ripe Virginia tobaccos and a small portion of dark-fired Kentucky. So, as you can see, here's the burley. Here is bright Virginia, red Virginia, and dark-fired Kentucky. And then this is the flake. Very dark, super dominated by that burley, that dark burley. And then there's little, specks of brightness poking through. Be that some type of Virginia or, some type of Virginia. Now, some of the dark could be some of that small portion of dark-fired Kentucky. You might be able to see these little darker areas. Could be that, or it could just be different variants of the burley. But yeah, a pretty heavy burley blend. Let's get over there and see how it smokes.
Well, I think both of us have experienced this. You more so than me. This is a classic blend. One that really gives Solani aged burley a run for its money.
Surprisingly, yeah. And when I first purchased it, well, you can see I bought it in January of 21. That was my intention because we were getting into the fillers heavy, and it seemed that typically, most fillers are going to be, I'm going to be the first impression because you just had so many. And so then I asked you if you had HH Burley, and you was like, no. So I was like, well, okay, we'll get that. We'll do a filler, and we can try to do some comparisons to Solani. But then it just kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed. So
finally. You had purchased me a 10.
I did. I did. Oh, yeah. That's
then recently I smoked a little bit of it. I've cracked it up and smoked a little bit of it.
Yeah.
And it's good. Well, it's good. This is technically, I'm like the lesser in this case of the two experienced smokers. So I wouldn't say it's a first impression for me because I have smoked it before. Everything got a little wild there for a year. You guys remember we had that year hiatus basically for kids. And Christmas to Thanksgiving, there was nothing last year, right? It was last year, right?
Yeah, from Christmas of 21 to Thanksgiving of 22, we were dead silent.
But I smoked it during that time, and I haven't really touched it since. But I remember being like, "Oh, that's really good," and it is. Smoking it again, beautiful, uniform flake. Not the rustic flakes you get from Samuel Galwith or Galwith and Hogarth, and a classic German rendition of a flake, which is just dead perfect.
As much as we love those rustic Galwiths, there's just something about the uniformity with a Mac Baren flake. Or any of the German blenders. I mean, I don't know. And the presentation, like I was just telling him off camera, like that's just that nice square. Like Galwith has the kind of more rectangle style ones, but some of the HH now I think Solani came in one like this too, but I think here recently they're moving more towards all being round, probably for cost benefits.
Yeah, probably easier to buy all round tins as opposed to mixing it up.
Because I'm sure for flake or for ribbon cut, they want round, I guess. Yeah. But for flakes, it's a little bit easier. This is nice.
There ain't nothing that makes me more mad though than opening up a round tin and having a square foil in it. I'm like, come on, but hey, you get what you get.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to complain about. Presentation seems like such an afterthought to me.
Yeah.
I remember people used to try to sell me on Apple products and stuff with presentation. I'm like, yeah, as long as it performs, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But I like the way this this tastes really good.
Yeah.
Earthier, slight cocoa, not like Solani. There is a light cinnamony quality to this. Super light, so light that you almost have to almost pause the breath of the kind of like the inhalation portion, and kind of just slowly, and then it's there. But you can pick up on it.
So that and that makes me think. I wonder if this is what new Solani tastes like.
Maybe. Is this a Mac Baren?
Yeah. But no, it's good. I mean, I've liked it from the first bowl. I've liked HH Burley Flake. I've spoken highly of all the HH. Most of the HH line. But yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's kind of Solani light in a way, but not light in terms of flavor. But well, I guess what I mean is it's a little subpar to it. I think Solani is still superior. It's kind of like now in retrospect, it's kind of like Hamburger Wehrmeister is just underneath Full Virginia. That's kind of how this is to Solani.
Solani, just you can see how it's as ruthless of a competitor as anything I've ever smoked with Solani.
Well, I was going to ask you, having welcome to the South.
That's a gigantic truck. That's a gigantic truck, man.
So now that you've recently had Cobblestone Brick,
yeah,
how does Cobblestone Brick kind of go? But in Solani in this, where does it fall?
So knee jerk is that it's better. Cobblestone is
better than this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the reason why is because they're different. They're too different. So like you're asking me subjectively to pick between Burley or Cobblestone or Burley plug, Burley block.
Brick Burley plug.
Burley plug. You're asking me to pick between Burley plug and HH Burley Flake. They're just too different. Burley's got the same name, but Cobblestone has Cobblestone brick Burley plug is more in line or more in keeping with what I prefer,
which is that aberrant.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to HH Burley. The question is Solani better than HH Burley? Because they're more comparable in my opinion. Or is Solani better than Burley plug? And Solani beats both of these because I like a cocoa flavor. And the subtleness of the Solani in the original blend is superior, I think, than both. If you're asking me pound for pound between Flake and plug, knowing how I am, I'm going to pick the Cobblestone because I like its flavoring better. Yep. But they're not comparable because this has a cocoa cinnamon. Solani has a cocoa cinnamon. Solani's better. This is good as opposed to other Burley cocos.
Yeah.
But it's not better than Cobblestone Brick or Cobblestone Brick Burley plug because I like the blending is more earthy for the Cobblestone, which is what I prefer.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I kind of put you in a... It's one of those situations where...
Well, I want to give the honest answer.
Yeah.
Like, the honest answer is they're not comparable.
Yeah.
Just because Burley's in the main name doesn't mean that they're blended in a similar fashion.
It's almost...
Or have a similar topping or casing.
Yeah, it's like trying to say, well, what's your favorite, Full Virginia or Artisan's blend? Well, they're kind of... That's a more exaggerated example, right? But that's kind of...
Yeah, but then you could go back and like, well, they both got Virginia in them.
Yeah.
The same thing with this. It's like they're both Burley bases, but like I think that the blending of Cobblestone is more in keeping with my particular taste than HH Burley. But I would smoke this as a rotational as easy as I could the Burley plug. Okay. So don't be confused about what I'm saying. They're both great. It's just you have to. There's a point at which you got to draw a line for preference. And this what the position you put me in, not a bad position, it's important to say this, but the position I was just put in is that, I prefer, the blending of Burley plug.
Yeah.
Cobblestone.
Yeah, I mean, because I think one thing that I've noticed is that, I think maybe other people feel this way, so maybe I'm not alone. when you first get into the realm, I may have spoke on this a little bit in the past. When you first get into the realm of pipe smoking and tobacco, you got Virginias, straight Virginias, and then Virginia-based some things, and then you got Burleys, and then you have vapor, which for the most part is just two components, Virginia and Perique, and then you have Englishes and Balkans and kitchen sinks that are just more things are going on, Scottish blend, things like that, and I tend to at the beginning assume that there's not so much variation in between the different Virginias or the different Burleys.
Right, yeah.
But there is a lot of variation in your Englishes and your Scottishes and your Balkans because there's other things that can be brought in from blend to blend.
Yeah.
As a newer pipe smoker, what I failed to realize is that there is room for variation in straight Virginias and in Burleys, and because I always just thought the variation is only in the quality of the tobacco. So if you go smoke full Virginia, and then you go smoke Peterson Flake or Patriot Flake, the differences there are going to be more in the quality of the tobacco, and that was the wrong thing to think. Now that has a part to play.
Yeah.
But more so topping and casing and aging, that has a part to play. And so,
there's a lot of components to bring something together.
Yeah. And so this is a good example of that, whereas we're talking about different Burleys here, but Solani and HH are more, like you said, in that cocoa realm over here, whereas Cobblestone's closer to that more earthy, I don't know, maybe nutty kind of woodsy, realm of Burley. So
that tea quality that I'm chasing all the time.
Yeah. So I think that's one thing. Like I said, maybe other people have realized that, but yeah, because now looking back, and I think I've said this about Virginias, I used to say, I just want one of each family as my rotational. I want one Virginia, I want one Burley based, I want one vapor, I want one English, whatever. But I allowed there to be more Englishes because there are more, in my head initially, there's more variation there. There's more chances that something could, and I think it has to do with the Latakia, and Latakia is just an easy thing when you're new into the game. That's an easy component to pick out.
Yes.
As opposed to,
because it's such a bomb.
It is. No matter how much you put in it, and so that alone allows it to be like, okay, well, I like Artisan's blend, but I also like HH Latakia Flake, and then I kind of like this Chelsea Morning, and so there's a lot of room there, and so, but now that I'm getting more into it, it's like, well, no, I really like I like all the different routes that you can take with Virginia, and I like the different routes you can take with Burley, and it's like, well, English is whatever, it's just all Latakia, like that's kind of where I've gotten to.
Right.
I've gotten to the point where, like I didn't like Bill Bailey's because I'm like, well, I mean, what is it doing differently than other Englishes that I've had? To me, it was subpar. So I get it, and I think HH is a good one. HH Burley is a good one. It goes back to what I've said before, and I'll continue to say it. If a new pipe smoker come up to me and they wanted like a sampling of stuff, I would just go get all the HH. I'd get Pure Virginia, I'd get Latakia Flake, I'd get Burley Flake, and then, which I haven't had the dark fired ones yet, but I'm sure they're great. And I haven't had Balkan blend. I just haven't had it yet. But I definitely get those three. I'd get those three and be like, here.
They actually had a HH Syrian.
We had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was really good.
Syrian no longer exists.
No.
So.
I think the Balkan maybe replaced it.
Yeah. Yes. Most definitely.
But yeah, I would get definitely those three and be like, look, here's a good starting off point, and these are good blends. These are good. Like they're just above middle. They're just above standards.
Right.
Where they have qualities to them that you could sit and smoke them for the rest of your life and you would be happy.
Right.
But they also are great examples of what the family of blend has to hold.
Oh, I agree with that.
So I think Mac Baren does a great job with that, and I wish that I could be someone that just adheres to that. I just have stacks of HH, but I also like other things too. So.
There's a lot out there. It's tough.
Yeah, but yeah, this is another one that's just like, hey, so after you suggest HH Burley and they're like, I like that a lot, it'd be like, all right, well, here's Solani, if you can find it, old Solani. I'm talking in terms of old. I could be like, well, here's Solani.
And it might be good. We just don't know.
Yeah, it may be good. So I just can't say that. Now, I have to preface and be like, well, I'm talking in terms of old because I don't have any knowledge of the new. But then at the same time, you could be like, okay, you like this. Okay, here's Burley in a different way. Here's Cobblestone. This is another route that Burley can go.
Right.
So, I think that's beneficial for anybody out there who are, and you may have different tastes. You may have not liked HH lines in the past, but I still think they're great for introductory stuff.
So we can R&R this, rest and relax, recommend and rotate. So
yes, sir. So we hope you liked this one. This is day 4, so we got one more day left.
One more, something a little special tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or special to me.
Hey, it'll be a good one. So we hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye y'all.